Hello everyone, welcome to our English for Academic and Professional Purposes subject. And for today's lesson, we will be talking about the fundamentals of reading. The texts and the books that you read in school are different from the texts or books that you read during your leisure time. The texts that you read during your leisure time are novels, magazines, or it can be comics. But today we will be focusing purely on academic texts. So I'll be giving some examples of an academic text. First, we have articles. These are being published in scholarly journals. And this type of academic text offers results of research and development that can either impact the academic community or provide relevance to nation building. So when we say articles, these are written by professionals in a given field. They are edited and often take years to publish. Articles can be found in periodicals. Next kind of academic text is we have conference paper. These are papers presented in scholastic conferences. It may be revised as articles for possible publication in scholarly journals. These papers also include oral presentation. You will be submitting a copy of your paper before you can present your paper at the conference. Reviews provide evaluation or reviews of work published in scholarly journals. It surveys and summarizes previously published studies. Examples are reviews of articles and reviews of literature. Next is we have theses and dissertations. These are personal researches written by a candidate for a college or university degree. So most of the baccalaureate courses requires thesis in order for you to get your bachelor's degree. And dissertation is the term for the one who is currently taking advanced studies. Now let's proceed to the reading goals. In everything that you do, it is important for you to know your purpose. Same thing with reading. You should know your purpose for reading early on so that you can save time and improve your comprehension to what you are going to read. So before you read an academic text, you ask yourself these three questions. Number one is, why am I reading the text? So you are reading the article or the text because what? So possible that you have an assignment about this specific concern, about this specific topic. That's why you are about to read this article or text. Second is, what pieces of information do I need? By having this objective, you will be able to understand and easily identify the important terms or information that you really need. And last is, what do I want to learn? So those are the three questions that you should ask yourself before reading a text. But aside from that, we also have general purposes for reading an academic text. First is to better understand an existing idea. So for example, you are interested of knowing more about the COVID-19. So in order for you to understand it better, you should read an academic text that talks about this specific concern. So by reading this, you will be able to understand it better. Second is to get an ideas that can support a particular writing assignment. So let's say for example you have an assignment, a writing assignment about mental health. In order for you to write this essay, so you'll be reading more information about it so that you can get an idea to what you are going to write. So you can have something to support on your main arguments. Third is we are reading in order for us to gain information. We need information every day in order for us to be knowledgeable and to know what is happening around us. Next is to connect ideas to the existing ones. So in here, you can identify on which part of the article or text they are similar. So maybe they can be similar when it comes to their thoughts and to the information that they want to intend to the readers. Now let's talk about the structure of an academic text. Academic texts are typically formal and they have a clearly structured introduction, body, and conclusion. They also include information from credible sources, and of course this is properly cited. And last is they also include a list of references used in developing the academic paper. So reference can be found at the end of the paper. Let's talk about the content and style of an academic text. So academic texts usually exhibit all the properties of a well-written text. So can you still recall the different properties of a well-written text? And that was being discussed when you were in grade 11 for your academic reading and writing. It includes organization, unity, coherence and cohesion, as well as the use of language and mechanics. So academic text states crucial questions and issues. They also provide facts and evidence from credible sources. So every academic text is reliable. They also use precise and accurate words. So in academic texts, they are avoiding to use colloquial expressions and what we call jargons. Well, the purpose of this is in order for us readers to understand a specific text better and easier. Next is they take an objective point of view. So academic text avoids being personal and subjective. Next is they list all the references. And last is they use hedging or cautious language to provide their claims. They are making sure that they are aware about the terms and words that they are going to use so that they cannot offend some of the readers. Let's proceed to the critical reading strategies. Reading academic texts requires focus and understanding. It is important to interact with the text that you are going to read and connect it to your real-life experiences and application. Let us define critical reading or reflective reading. It helps you identify the key arguments presented by the author and analyze concepts presented in the text. So it is more on focusing and effectively understanding the text. So in order for you to adopt the critical reading approach, it is important for you to practice the different stages of reading. The different stages of reading are before reading, during reading, and after reading. So before reading is the first step, and in here it is important for you to identify what kind of academic text are you going to read. Is it an article? Is it a review? Or is it a thesis? Second is to establish your purpose for reading. Third is to identify the author's purpose for writing. Next is to predict or infer the main idea or argument of the text based on the title itself. So you can state what you know or predict by simply looking at the text itself. So based on the title, what do you think is the article all about or the text all about? Next is to state what you want to know and what you want to learn about the text that you are going to read. Next is to determine the target audience. Is it for the youth? Is it for the women? Or whatnot? Next is to check the publication for it should have been published at most 5 years earlier than the current year. Next is to check the reference list. And last for this stage is to use or create a concept map or graphic organizer to note your existing ideas and knowledge about the topic. Next stage is the during reading, and it is where you annotate text. Annotating text can help you determine essential ideas or information from the text. So here are some ways to annotate a text. You can write keywords or phrases on the margins in bullet form. You can also write brief notes on the margin. You can also write something on the page margin where important information is found. Write questions on information that you find confusing. Write what you already know about the ideas. Write the limitations of the author's arguments. Write notes on the reliability of the text. You can also comment on the author's biases. You can react on the arguments presented in the text. You can underline important words, phrases, or sentences. You can also encircle definitions or meanings. You can mark or highlight relevant or essential parts of the text. You can create a bank of unfamiliar or technical words to be defined later. You can write it at the bottom part of the article or any on the spaces available. Determine the main idea of the text. Identify the findings and note the appropriateness of the research method used. So I will be projecting an example of an annotated text here. And the last stage is after reading. It is where you reflect on what you learned. So you can write a short reflection about it after reading the text. You can also react on some parts of the text through writing. It is also where you discuss some parts of the text to your teacher or to your classmates. And last is to link the main idea of the text to what you already know. Aside from the stages of reading, we also have other reading strategies, and that is what we call the SQ3R method of reading and the KWL method. SQ3R stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. Survey and question falls under before reading, and read falls under during reading, and recite and review falls under after reading. For the survey, it is where you can get a feel of the text. You can also read the first few and last sentences of the text to determine the key information. You can check the headings, tables, and diagrams presented in the text. In question, it is where you develop questions on the types of information you expect from the text. And read under during reading, it is time for you to look for answers to your questions as you read the text. For the recite, it is a time wherein you recount the main points of the text and recall by writing a summary or synthesis based on what you understand of the text. And last, we have the review. It is where you evaluate what you learned to ensure that you are convinced and satisfied with the information presented in the text. Next is we have the KWL method. So KWL method guides you in reading and understanding the text. In order for you to apply the KWL method, simply create a table with 3 columns. On the first column, write what you know about the topic. And on the second column, list down what you want to learn. And in the third column, write down what you need to learn. So for the KWL, K stands for know, and W stands for want, and L stands for learn. What I know, what I want to learn, and what I have learned.